Dr. Rose was born in Geneva, Switzerland, grew up in Europe, the Caribbean, and North America. Holds a BA degree in biology from Pacific Union College, a master's degree in biology, and PhD degree in zoology from the University of Michigan. He's taken additional training in geology, mathematics, radiation biology, and various campuses at the University of California. He has held a number of college and university appointments and is a member of several learned societies. He has been chairman of the Department of biology departments at Andrews and Loma Linda University, and for 14 years was director of Geoscience Research Institute at Loma Linda. For 23 years, he was the editor of the journal Origins. He has pursued the research of invertebrate zoology and on fossil and living coral reefs in both the Pacific and Caribbean oceans. He has investigated the effects of light and pigment on the rate of coral reef growth. His research in various aspects of biology has been financed by several United States government agencies, including the National Science Foundation, the National Institutes of Health, and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. He is currently investigating the authenticity of fossil termite nests in the Jurassic-Morrison Formation. Dr. Rose has been an active in the evolution creation controversy in the United States. He has been a consultant, keynote speaker, or witness to the states of California, Oregon, and Arkansas. He has conducted numerous paleontological and geological field trips in Australia, New Zealand, Europe, and North America in areas significant to the creation-evolution controversy. He has published over 180 articles in both scientific and popular journals, and has given many hundreds of lectures throughout the world, one of which will be tonight. His book, Origins, which was one of the books that Kristen held up, Linking Science and Scripture, which presents scientific evidence that authenticates the Bible, has been published in 16 languages. His new book, Science Discovers God, 7 Convincing Lines of Evidence for His Existence, is now available in 4 languages, and another language will come out probably very shortly. Well, without further ado, please welcome Dr. Ariel Rose. Thank you.
Thank you for your kind words. After that, I'm kind of anxious to hear what I have to say tonight. That aside, it's such a joy to be with you folks here. I heard so much about this place through the years and so on. You know, George Howe used to teach here. Give my greetings if you happen to see him. And he came to Loma Linda University once and gave us a lecture there. It was a wonderful lecture. I so much appreciated it. George is such a fair, calm presenter. We were just impressed with his approach to these issues. Well, I want to tell you one story tonight to introduce what we're talking about here. There was an inspector at the gate of one of these atomic plants where they're concentrating various sources of uranium and so on. And part of his job was to make sure nobody got in there who shouldn't be. And then also, part of his job was to see that nobody took any of this valuable radioactive material out. And so when people came out, he'd check them with a Geiger counter and so on, and let them go on and so on. And he was very faithful at this. One day a man showed up with a wheelbarrow full of straw. And he thought, oh, this guy's trying to sneak a little bit of radioactive material here in the straw. And so he checked all the straw and couldn't find anything radioactive, so he let him go on. Well, the next day, the guy comes by, another wheelbarrow full of straw. And he checks it very thoroughly, you know, and nothing going on. And this went on for 6 days. When on the 7th day, when the man came through, he said, look, what is going on here? He said, you needn't worry that I'm going to get tired of checking the straw. He says, as long as you keep doing it, I'm going to be checking everything, but I'm really puzzled what's going on here. And the guy said, don't you know what's going on? I'm sneaking wheelbarrows out of the establishment. it's so easy for us to concentrate on little details and so on. I want to talk to you tonight about the broader picture, and that is the scientific evidence for God. There are many details we could go into and so on, but many people are wondering about this issue. Let me introduce just a few comments. For instance, in England, less than a year ago, huge buses. You know, the two-story buses they have in England, signs on the side, incidentally partially financed by Richard Dawkins. But the sign says, there's no God. Now stop worrying and enjoy your life. Because you're probably not going to be enjoyed very long if there isn't a God. One bus driver refused to drive the buses around. Hey, I'm not going to drive a sign that says, there's no God type of thing, and so on. At this time of the year, people get worrying about these nativity scenes and so on, separation church and state. This happened in Olympia, Washington, and so the atheists put up a sign right next to it. Hey, folks, at this time of the winter solstice, they were going to mention Christmas. That's a terrible word for atheists to mention, and so on. Anyway, Washington, D.C. buses. Why believe in God? Just be good for goodness sake. And I don't have time to discuss this goodness issue coming. It's a very salient issue now. Why are people good? Because evolution dictates, we should just be madly trying to reproduce as fast as we can to make sure our genes get passed on to as much as possible to the next generation according to the evolutionary scenario. And really, scientists don't do that. Why do they? Even though they don't believe in God per se, at least many of them don't. Why should they do that? And so on. Well, it's very, very much discussed, and there's very little to go on in terms of factual data to prove one way or the other. Except we know very well that the Bible tells us to be good, and we're so grateful for that guide. Well, 11 atheists and humanists sued the inauguration procedures for U.S. president because, the president had to close, they had an opening prayer, a closing prayer, and the president said, so help me God, type of thing, and so on. And they used the Bible in the ceremony. They wanted to get rid of this. Last September 30, I don't know if you celebrated this or not, but it was the first International Blasphemy Day. You may not have heard about it. But it was proclaimed by the Center for Inquiry. And it was to celebrate freedom to denigrate and insult religion. And among the things they offered is to trade pornography for Bibles. I was at one of their meetings once, attended one of their meetings once, about 500 people there. The thing that I was amazed of, it's the first atheist meeting I'd ever attended, is the degree of paranoia they have about so many people don't believe in them, and they feel like they're a minority group and so on. Very interesting situation there. But they had pornography books there for sale and so on at that meeting and so on. In Blasphemy Day, you can debaptize people with hair dryers. Artwork, picture of Jesus painting his nails. I mean, this is blasphemy, you almost hate to mention it. And fortunately, some atheists are disapproving of this methodology. They don't think it's getting their case anywhere by doing this kind of thing. And right now, there's a big campaign where they're handing out Darwin's Origin of Species with an introduction by Ray Comfort.